day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Should I'm typing at the same time. I can't type and talk. Should you drink? Hey everybody, we are live and in living color. I got so much to talk about that's important. Even a different look. I know we have talked about this 33 till we can't, but I'm not talking about whether we should or whether we shouldn't today. I'm talking about it from a different perspective and I'm going to talk about water today. I'm going to talk about water in our area and the information that is flowing out there now. Accurate information. I always tell you, get the accurate information. Don't get the rumors. It's out there now about our lead pipes. It's out there about the costs. It's out there. It's out there how much money was spent on snow removal. In just this last one, millions of dollars were spent on snow removal. So now you have people going, well, where are you getting the money from? And so I want to have a real discussion on what we want. Because I've sat in City Hall 12 years. So I know people will say, we want this. And then when you say, okay, and how do you pay for it? Then people go, you figure that out. And it's not that simple. Money does grow on trees. We just don't have the access to it. Watch this. So I want to have the real discussion because I told you, I'm in this place of how do we work together? Because I do believe that there is money, that there could be money available with the state, money available with the federal government. But a lot of times we're clashing, and so we're not getting because we're not working together around an agenda.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. I got a question that I'm asking people who are tuning in. Do you drink the water out of your faucet? Do you drink tap water? Now, some people say Buffalo has some of the best tasting tap water. And I'm going to talk about that. But first, I want to show respect for the 3 soldiers. We talk about Black History Month. 3 soldiers who have been killed.
Yeah.
All people of color. They had worked together. I'm just looking because after 2 seconds, they take that kind of stuff down so that they could put other junk up.
Sure do.
And I'm on the wrong feed. Soldiers. So I want to pay respect to them. And I'm looking, we both type so fast. I want to call their name, though. Because when you, here, I think I found it.
You got it. I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Sergeant Jerome Rivers, 46 of Carlton, Georgia. Kennedy Ladden Sanders, 24 of Waycross, Georgia. And Brianna Moffitt of Savannah, Georgia.
And so today, there will be the dignified transfer of their remains. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, will be there for that transfer. And, especially as a veteran, I think it is so important to honor those who are serving, definitely, to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice like these 3 have, and to honor those who have served. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I wanted to announce that. I wanted that to be the first thing that we talk on this show about, because if only thing you're paying attention to is potholes, you are missing it. Our world is in chaos. From Russia to the Gaza Strip, to Iran, Somalia, I can go on and on. And now we're losing troops. And a lot of times we don't pay attention until we're in the thick of things. So there are two major wars happening right now. Of course, the United States has picked a side, kinda. I always go from me, this is just Darius, I'm more concerned about the innocents who are being killed, whether that's on the Israel side or whether it's on the Palestinian side, whether it's on the Russian side, or whether it is on the Ukrainian side. And so that's my prayer, and may all of these conflicts, but now the United States is starting to have their own conflict.
Yeah.
And you all know when we have a conflict, you come in, President Biden has already said he is going to respond. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be death.
Yes.
Then they're going to respond.
Yep.
What we have to be conscious of, their response might not just be in the battlefield.
No.
Because I could take you back to 9/11, and we all can remember where you were at.
Yeah.
And so that, that we have to be conscious that that there's a world outside of Buffalo.
Right.
And that world is in chaos right now, and every hand. So our discussions can seem so minute.
Yep.
When you talk about the world, when you talk about, they're important now because what we're going to talk about today could mean life or death, especially when we're talking about lead pipes and all that kind of stuff. But when you look at people right now in the Gaza Strip who don't have any pipes.
Yeah. They might be happy with our water source. They
They have
me
nothing.
just running water.
Yeah, no running water. And this offensive is supposed to now be moving toward the more populated areas where you told people to go.
Yep.
I was an airman, so I'm not a strategic analyst of war. However, it's just like every day, and I want to suggest this to people for your mental health. There are sometimes you have to disconnect from the news.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to disconnect definitely from social media. I it's been a month now. I do not go on social media to read anything other than make a post.
Yeah.
Make a couple comments so people know I'm present. Make a couple comments on a
Right.
few other, and then I'm gone.
Right.
Because what I've found is that searching through that stuff, and it doesn't have to be about you.
Right.
But it could take you into areas mentally.
You go down a rabbit hole.
You go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And now your brain is stuck at what you're reading. So give yourselves the permission to say, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing this. And then make sure that people who are close to you, especially if they're sending you stuff that's triggering or sending you stuff that bothers you, or tell them stop.
Yeah.
I'm okay telling people stop. I tell people all the time, don't. This Christy has a song. Take me out the group text.
Oh,
take
please.
me out the group text.
Please.
So when people put me in a group text, I immediately, if I can figure out, sometimes I can't figure out because it's bouncing around. I'm sure there's a way. I immediately privately send them a text.
Right.
To say, please take me out of this.
Absolutely.
I don't want my phone buzzing 15 times because you sent a scripture. I got a Bible.
Right.
I got a Bible. I appreciate
It's
it.
the same daily scripture I got.
All of us reading the verse of the day, okay? All of us get up and read the verse of the day. I don't need the people I want to follow and I want my phone to buzz. I'll do that. I don't
Right.
even, now this is the truth. I don't even have notifications on my phone to be following somebody.
No.
That's me.
No.
But there are other people I appreciate, they follow us and they want to, but at the end of the day, I don't want to wake up because you did a post at 2 a.m.
Oh yeah, no. Well, and you're absolutely right, because the first thing I legit do in a group text is I mute it, because like you said, I don't want to be notified every time somebody hits. Okay,
Yes.
I like a message. No,
Yes.
I don't want any of that. Just please, like you said, please keep me out of them.
Folks, can I just tell you this, whether you know it or not, group texts are disrespectful to me.
Super disrespectful.
If you don't know how to use your phone and send out a text that goes to individuals, don't send me, because I have blocked people.
Oh, absolutely.
People who I love, I have blocked because they they can't remember that I said don't put me in there.
Or because people I think fail to realize, because once you put me in a group text, now everyone on that thread
Yes.
has my number.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes, and absolutely. So I have. Do you group text?
I don't like group text.
Yeah, you don't
I
either?
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to get something every time you want to send something out to say hallelujah. You want to send it to me?
Yeah, like-
I'm saying hallelujah on my own, and I ain't gotta let everybody know.
I'm okay if you send me something. Now I don't want. Okay, I'm going to talk about the serious stuff, but I don't need you to send me what Jesus said at 7 a.m. I don't need you to choose when I wake up, because my phone buzzes and now, and this happened to me the other day. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. 7 a.m. I planned on getting up at 9:30.
Yeah.
7 a.m. Now I'm mad. Now I'm so. Let me tell you how mad I was. I got up. I went and got some water. I was sweating. I was so mad. And so somebody said, well, why don't you just do the do not disturb? I'm not doing do not. Sometimes I do, but if there's an emergency, my family, something like that, that's unfair.
And I was getting ready to say, I think that's the disadvantage to people public-facing roles, right? You really can't stay in do not disturb, because then somebody either has to call you 3 times before it pushes through, or like you said, the world is falling apart, and you're like, nah, I'm comfortable.
Right. Exactly. So I don't think that I should be forced to put on do not disturb because you don't respect the fact that everybody doesn't get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Don't send me a message.
Yeah, I know the Bible says early will I seek thee, but everyone's early is different. Everyone's early is
Bro, my early, now that I'm retired from one job, is 10 o'clock. That's early.
That's
and
what
I
I'm saying.
nope. God is good. I know God is good. I knew he was good when I was asleep. So that's my message.
Sleep is sacred.
He gets hilarious in his retirement age.
No, I'm free. When you get free, bro, let me tell you this. Now I'm free, I'm still loving, I'm still kind, but you just get to a point where you just gotta say what it is.
No,
and I'm saying publicly to any organization I was in or in. I don't really go to no more meetings right now. I'm not in the meeting mode. I'm not in the. Don't ask me to be on any committee, because I'm not being on no committee. If it ain't paid, I ain't doing it in this season in my life, because everybody else is on bank boards and they getting flown out to California. I got to be on the board. You want me to raise $4 million
Or drive somewhere, drive all around town.
I'm retired from that.
I want to be on them boards. Like one of my friends, she's on a board for a credit union.
Yeah.
And she just came from Maui. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
they sent you out there?
I'm all in.
On the board.
That's the words I'm talking about.
All in.
But I think the bigger lesson is, and this is what someone told me, and I've been repeating it ever since. You have to teach people how to treat you.
Absolutely.
And that's big for your own mental sake and health. And like you said, I have to teach you. Even if I got to keep reminding you, don't put me in a group text. Teach people how to treat you.
So today, so there's several things going on. I want to talk about this lead pipes, and how many. We don't even really know how many in the city of Buffalo, because there weren't good records kept. And I want to say this because I know people will start getting on talking about the present administration. The present administration did not put the lead pipes in the ground.
Right.
This was something that was done from the beginning
Nationwide.
of time of Buffalo being founded. That's how water was delivered. So I want to be clear. But lead in pipes can cause health issues. So here's my discussion that I want to talk about today. Especially poorer, older communities. That's what I'll say. Older communities.
Yes.
Because newer communities won't have as much lead pipe connections.
Right.
Right? newer communities are going to have the newer stuff that's in the ground. It doesn't have the corrosion like the lead pipes. We talk about lead paint in our communities. I just want you to see how much health, when we talk about health disparity, it is beyond our diets.
Right.
It is beyond, I don't have a big salt intake, which is good. You shouldn't. I had to eat some canned soup last night. It almost killed me to do that. But I was so sleepy when we got out of church. It goes beyond, your carb intake, your sugar intake. It is in the air.
Yep.
And it is in the water.
And the water.
And we cannot survive without two things, air and water. Right. You cannot survive. You cannot live without air and water.
That's it.
And the two most important things for us to survive is polluted and dangerous. So if we look at the 33, I now have a different reason that I want to see something happen with it.
Right.
And that I hope that we don't wait until more people have asthma and more people have this, because we can't get out of our own way. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do something. And I know some people don't feel that it's enough, but I want, as a person who has lost half of their lung,
right,
I'll never be able to recover that. I'll never be able to. I do well, but there are times, even yesterday, when this air changes, I have pressure.
Yeah.
And so it is difficult. I was at the outlet mall. It was difficult to kind of maneuver and breathe. And so I know those problems. And I know now where I got it from. And it wasn't from smoking. It was from chemicals. It was from gas. It was from radon in a house that I owned. Radon coming up from the floor. And I didn't find that out until I sold it. But if you have now cars, we have had it. You can see the soot on the houses. And if you can see the soot on the houses, I'll give you an example where you can see soot and it's not even the 33, and that's on Best Street. If you go down Best toward the 33,
absolutely,
and you look at those houses, I told you before, I just want to go power washing.
Yep. You're right.
There's soot. So if before we weren't concerned about that if it's on your house, it's going into your nostrils.
Yeah.
If it's going into your nostrils, it's going into your system.
And like you said, just think about when I want to casually sit on my porch.
Exactly.
So it's the same principle.
So for me, and I get it about joining the parks and all that. Boy, I know this is going to be controversial. Joining the parks, fine. But we don't even get along. Okay, so I'm done with that.
Yeah, because
I'm done with that. Well,
we have an off-air conversation about that.
So, okay, here is my point that I think is more important. It's the health issue.
Absolutely.
It is the health issue, and I know people say, well, we're going to electric cars. We ain't there yet. And we far away from, when I tell you far away from that, I own an electric car.
Yes.
And what?
I was going to ask you about that because I saw that during the winter when it was really, really cold, people were having major problems with their electric cars and going to charging stations because they charge slower. So there's a lot of things that we're learning about that aspect of that we have to kind of bring in. And as you said, we're not there yet to turn the key and say, oh, we're going to be all electric, because there are things as we go through this transition, we're going to find out that maybe we can't go as quickly as we want.
Yeah, so I own an electric car, and the problems in the winter in cold areas, if you're in Florida, you in Texas, you're good.
Right.
Well, I don't know. It got cold in Texas and Florida. But in a cold climate, just like any other battery, it goes down quickly. So my car, I can charge up to almost 300 miles. So people think, oh, you can go 300 miles. Well, not in the winter.
Right.
Those 300 miles, depending on how much heat I'm running, depending on how fast I'm going, those 300 miles might only produce 200 miles for me. Now, in what happened in Chicago, it got so cold. When as you know, you've been in the car with me. If you go down to zero, and we were in the winter, and we had 30-something miles, and we were going somewhere. We were on the 33. And those 30 miles zapped away. And they zapped away because then I really didn't know about preconditioning the battery, getting the car ready before. So we just got in and we went. Then it was a slowdown on the 33. And before we know it, we down to 1.
Yeah.
And we can't find a charger. Then we go to Walmart. We found one on Walden, but it didn't fit.
Right.
And there was no adapter for the one that's on at Walmart for the Tesla. So at the end of the day, the grids are not ready for it. Our electrical grids are not ready for it. We're not ready for it in a lot of municipalities. And that's why I push so hard for it on the council, is so that we would have some charging stations in Chicago. So if you have an electric car, you can have a charger at home. If you don't, most people don't have a charger at home. So they have to go to a charging station, like a gas station. But it's not like you just pull in and then 3 minutes later, you're going to be there half an hour. You're going to be there 20 minutes. So if your car gets to zero and you're close to zero, you on your way to the charging station, and now you in the snow and you going slow, you could get to zero, and there is nothing you could do except have a tow truck come get you and take you. Now, if a tow truck gets you and takes you to a charging station and all of the bays are full, that guy is not standing there, or that woman, he's not standing there. So he's going to drop you.
Yep.
So now you get dropped. I can't move my car easily when I can't cut it on because the gear shift is electric.
Yeah.
So it's all of these problems. And so you got to already know how to get your car to move, because if you can't turn it on, you can't control anything. So, I'm talking about this about 33, and people saying, well, there's going to be more electric cars. There will be more electric cars on the road, but it's not going to happen quickly.
I was going to say, the price still has to come down. A lot of your base model e-vehicles are still $35,000 base, right off the truck.
Yes. So
last time I checked, ain't too many people going to afford a $35,000 car with a hefty down payment on most of them. So
yeah, and if we knew the economics of it, it's more economical because you're not buying gas, but you are buying electric. You are buying electric. And you're not paying maintenance, because my car has no motor, it has no engine, it has no filters, has nothing. And in almost 4 years of owning it, I'm just getting ready to change the brake pads. Oh, wow. I've never had to change them, because when you take your foot off the gas, the car starts to slow down without engaging the brake.
It's almost an immediate stop.
Right.
But it's so much learning regarding that transition. It ain't as simple as just, okay, I can get in and I start it up and I drive it. As you said, there's things that you learn about maneuvering. As a matter of fact, I was at one of the dealerships, and he was saying, well, we go through a couple of week process to educate you on how to navigate with an electric vehicle. And I'm like,
yeah.
Whoa, okay. Do I want to do this? Eventually you do, but it's not as simple, just let me buy this car and let me just drive it.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I never touched an electric car. I never was in an electric car. I bought it and didn't even know how to start it. So when they dropped the daggone thing off, first of all, he called me and said, I'm getting ready to drop the car at the bus stop on East Ferry, the car carrier. I'm like, no, bro, you can't do that. You can't put that. I'm on my way. And when he gets ready to drive, I'm like, oh, how do I get in this thing, right? So there's this whole education thing that I'm still learning,
right?
Because you don't start an electric car. Right. You just get, at least, the car I have, you just get in it. That's it, with the key.
That's it.
And you just drive off. I had a preacher friend call me the other week, a couple months ago, and said, hey, Pridge, I rented this Tesla, and I'm trying to figure out how to start it. I said, are you in it? He said, yeah. I said, you got the key in it? He said, yeah. I said, just put it in drive. It go. He said, it ain't gonna crank? No, bro, it ain't gonna crank. So the 33, I'm more concerned about health right now. I am concerned. I know there's been talk about gentrification once you close it, or whatever is going to happen. Close it, fill it in. I'm y'all, everybody else y'all can fight that. I just say something needs to happen, because people in those neighborhoods are suffering the ill effects of it. So now we take that air.
Yep.
Okay, we take air. And thank God that the United States did get involved with air pollution.
Yes.
But I say we need big money. United States, I mean, they raise the debt ceiling all the time.
All the time.
Our communities that have been negatively affected by these highways, we need money for rerouting of traffic, if that's what's going to happen, but it's going to go through some neighborhood.
Yep.
You got to understand that this is bigger than the 33. Downtown Buffalo is downtown Buffalo. There was white flight. There's black flight now, just to be very honest with you.
There is.
There's flight, white and black, out of cities. Some people are coming back into cities. And I just, I got so many opinions. You got black folks still moving out. And let me say this. If you take the air quality and now the water situation and education, some people are making that decision.
Yes, absolutely.
Lead pipes. The mayor says it's going to take $400 million to replace all the lead pipes. Now, here's the question. I agree, and I'm not, because I sat there, so it would be hypocritical now that I'm not on the council to say, you all ought to replace the lead pipes. I understand. So I'm bringing you a perspective that talking heads who have never been involved do not understand. Because there's going to be some shows that say the city needs to replace it. And I agree.
Yes.
We need to replace every lead pipe because you get kidney disease from too much lead.
Yes.
There's all kinds of health problems, and especially with children. So I'm also going to give you a number where we can get water tested. Yeah. Get your water tested. If the city, and I say we not as an elected official, but as a taxpayer, if we replace every line, and it's going to cost $500 million, the 33 $500 million, we're looking at, is it $500 million for the 33 or $1 billion? $1 billion, right? For the 33.
$500 million.
$500 million
Yes.
for the 33?
Yes.
$500 million. We're talking about $1 billion needs to come into the city of Buffalo. And by the time all this gets done, it's going to be more. But let's just say $1 billion. And people will say, oh, that's so big, we'll never be able to get it. I disagree. Because when they wanted to find $1 billion to rebuild schools, they did. And we did not benefit by and large as black people from that project. And that was one of the reasons I walked away from the school board, because I saw the handwriting on the wall. It was all this talk. We have to benefit more. Where do we get the money from? Do you believe the lead pipes need to be?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we know that that's a big issue, especially in black and brown communities. Absolutely. And so those are things that I believe we're beginning to work towards, but the dollars that we need to get it done immediately probably aren't available. But again, if this is what we want as a community, this is what we should be pressing for. I know the folks who have been working on the project for the 33, they've been working on that for decades, and it finally came to fruition. So we just started begin putting the work in, but there is some work happening regarding lead pipes.
There is some work. This is what I suggest. Now, when I lived downtown, because it was a fairly newer community, old, I lived in some of the oldest condos down there, but they weren't using lead pipes when they did that project. So I didn't worry so much. But you got to realize some pipes that are going out to the street may somewhere down the line still be connected to lead.
Right.
A lot of your main arteries still are.
Yeah. So where it's coming from the main could still be connected to lead. But when I moved where I'm at now, because I know that building is almost 100 years old, I know, I assume, that I'm connected to some type of lead.
Right.
So me personally, and then I'm going to get ready to do our sponsors at 12:30, and we're going to come back and talk about it. I went out and I was going to put a water system in the house. It was $4,000. So I got a system, all right. I went and got me a nice looking water cooler, and it became a part of the furniture. And that's what I use. But when I travel to foreign countries where the water is bad, you don't brush your teeth in it. You don't do anything. We cook. I still cook with tap water, as long as it's going to a boil. And sometimes even if it's not. So we got to think about and get the water tested. So I'm not trying to alarm anybody. I'm trying to inform somebody. I'm going to come over to the station We're ready to pay some bills. And when we come back, the question is, do you drink your tap water? Have you had your tap water tested? 3, how do you think that we should pay for $500 million to replace every line in the city of Buffalo? I'm coming over to the station in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
All right, so the question is, do you drink tap water?
No.
You don't drink it at all?
I don't drink tap water. Now, I'm fortunate to have
His
filter
mic.
on my refrigerator that filters our water.
No, it's off totally. He was on. You said you had a filter.
I don't drink tap water, but I do have a filter on our refrigerator that filters our water. But still, it's still going through.
It just popped back in.
Going through the lead. So yeah, I don't drink tap water.
No tap water. Do you think, and you agree that we need to replace all of these lines?
Especially because we know how much of an impact it is to, in our communities.
Right. Hold on, we might have to switch your. Yeah, can you switch them to another line? So I think we all agree, and now I'm off. We all agree that we need to replace it, but would you want taxes to go up? Would you want this to be a budget issue? Now, to replace every line is more than the yearly budget of the city of Buffalo. So you couldn't just get it off of taxes like it is now without doubling taxes. You can't, there's a tax, there's a ceiling. You can't just, charge everything to the taxpayer all at once. Oh, they're back.
But I think, honestly, you have to understand the totality of the things that we're looking to do. I mean, we're talking about the 33, we're talking about, lead pipes, we're talking about air quality. There's a whole lot of things that we want to talk about. I think the most pressing issue just in my mind is the lead. We know that that's been one of the biggest effects on our children throughout. I mean, we talk about educational standards and how it's affect them in their motor skills, all those things, and we know a big part of that is lead. Then the next one is the lead or the carbon that we're receiving from the 33. So those two things, I think, I don't know if you can put a dollar value on it, but it's something that we know the federal government has been addressing. We know that the state has been addressing it, but we need to know what is the plan to address it.
Have you ever tested your water?
I have.
Do you drink tap water?
Never.
Never.
Well, when I was a kid in Delaware, but it's since been in New York now. I stopped drinking tap water probably as an adult.
Was there a fear of drinking the tap water, or you just?
No, I just never been a tap water person. I mean, but like I said, on the football field we did, but I just never At home, I just never was a tap water person.
I'm very cognizant when I use the water. Like even when I'm cooking, I'll get a bottle of water.
Really? See, I
Really?
don't do all
Get a
that.
bottle of water.
Not for cooking, though.
Yeah, I'll get a bottle of water. Like if I'm, I make Kool-Aid and different things. I'm getting bottled water. If I'm boiling it, now that's a different thing. If I'm boiling it, I'm okay. I'll get it out there and I'll boil it for my rice or whatever. But typically, if I'm really cooking, like even if I'm doing, I'm baking a cake or something, I'm getting a bottle of water.
I see. I haven't gone that far.
Yeah.
You buy bottled water, or you don't have a?
I have bottled water.
So you just pouring a whole lot of bottled water.
Well, it's a cup. Use a cup or 2 cups, and
Okay.
I just have a bottle. Of
So
water.
you don't have like what's the thing?
Like a filter.
Filter. Or
No,
you
I have
don't
a filter on the refrigerator, but the water comes out so slow.
Mine
that.
too on the
Yeah,
refrigerator.
so I just get the bottled water.
But if it's not the fridge, you got to understand. I think city water pressure is less. It sits around 30 psi. So like if you just say, so what's probably going to your little copper refrigerator is reducing that even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to get a lot of pressure out of your fridge.
So Sylvia on Facebook says, I drink Poland Spring. I usually use that when I cook, but I do use tap water to brush my teeth because I didn't even think too much. Now, once we put the fluoride back in,
Yeah.
because then you're adding fluoride to your teeth, but it's all these issues and they cost money. And so the thought is in my head, I don't think it's too much to ask for $1 billion. If we were organized, and if my fear is you start saying we need to replace the lead pipe. We need to put money over here. We need to, and it's like, folks, who wouldn't agree? We put people in jail for lead paint if they won't remediate their houses after they've been notified. The government locks people up. So if we know that we have the essential component of life, water.
Yes.
And we know that, again, I want to be clear. You didn't put it in there. No. This generation didn't. No. The generation before the George K. Arthurs, the Delmar, they did not put that in the ground. It was already there.
And I was just looking up. The federal government didn't even ban the use of lead pipes until 1986.
Yeah, wow.
So, and in 2021, this article says that the EPA estimates in 2021 that there is still 6 to 10 million lead service lines across the country.
Crazy. That's crazy.
That's your whole infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's not just in Buffalo.
Right.
And so when you look at especially brown and black people and where we live, we live in some of the most dated communities. In the city of Buffalo. And you can dress up a pig, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig. And so that's my concern. Where do can we get out of our own way for a minute and work on issues? It ain't gonna come out of the taxpayer. We don't have it. Right. There's a cap. If tomorrow the Common Council and the administration said, we're gonna pay for all the lead pipes through this year's budget, it ain't gonna happen. You cannot legally do it. And that would mean taxes would have to double on everybody. It's just not gonna happen. But something does need to happen. And the same way that there was working together to get the $1 billion for the joint schools construction project, we're going to have to start working together to remediate and eliminate some of the problems in our city, because there's problems everywhere. There's problems in the soil. There's problems everywhere. But the lead is the most important problem.
I mean, that problem is already, expanded upon, because you talk about lead, but then you also talk about water quality, and the combination of the two are things that make us very, very sick, and we just seem to continue with these issues, these health issues, because of the combination of that and air quality.
So I was going to say in the same article, it's literally states for the country wide that the Biden administration, the EPA estimated the cost to do the whole country at 28 to 47 billion, and the Biden administration originally proposed to allocate 45 billion towards it, but Congress only gave him 15 billion.
See, this is what I mean. These are the bigger issues that we have got to start embracing, because this affects not only us, it affects our children in the generation. You know, think about how many mothers who are using powdered milk for their babies.
Yeah.
Go to that faucet.
Yep.
Pour that water, folks. I'm preaching for real. Pour that water in there, shake that bottle up, put it in the child's mouth. We don't even think, and not that they don't think about it, but here's economics again. Water, Poland Springs, costs money.
Sure does.
So if now I'm already on a fixed income, I'm already in a neighborhood where I'm breathing in toxins, and I'm giving my child from birth this water that came out of the tap that I haven't even tested. Mark, did you find it, where to get it tested? Oh, no, I can find it. I can find it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, you can go. I mean, I know the city. If you go to the city has a site. Because as a matter of fact, when Steve Stepniak was a public works commissioner, he gave me the information to get my water tested. So I got water tested there. But they also have locations when you go to Home Depot where they actually have a little tree when you come through. I think they leave or coming in where you can get a little envelope and it allows you to mail your water into a place and they'll send you the results back. I got that as well.
My only fear about that is it's connected to companies that sell.
Right. They
filters.
come in to get you your filtrated water
Yeah,
system.
yeah, and you can do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it for free through there,
Yeah.
but now you've given up your information. I did that one time. Then I started getting all these ads to me about water filters. I don't need the ads. I need the information.
Yeah.
So safe drinking water, it should be easy to find this. Buffalo Safe Water Lead Study. I got that. Yeah, we got to make this a little easier so that people know, and I apologize but trust me, if we're on here searching, it's not easy to find this information. I'm looking at a study where some pipes were put in 1890. All the individual streets. Oh, this is interesting. So it's on BuffaloNewYork.gov. It's on the city's page, but you can actually look. Ooh, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for my street. You can look for a street, and it will tell you on here whether there's lead. Collingwood, Amherst Street, lead. No, to be determined. Cambridge Avenue. Those were 1909 lead. Rounds Avenue 1928 lead. Gold Street 1900 lead. East Amherst 1920 lead. Marshall Street lead. And those are some of the bigger ones. But then you get to I'm going to give you some copper. Okay, Riley Street, 1930, copper. Tree Haven, copper.
Oh, okay.
Lafayette Avenue, copper. Federal, copper. But I'm skipping over all the lead. Go ahead.
So I just talked to the executive director. Residents can call 311.
Oh, okay.
Just call 311, and then they get walked through the whole process of testing and what can happen afterwards. So just call 311.
I'm encouraging everybody to call 311. Tell them you want to get your water tested. And this is, again, I am not I'm not out there, the sky is falling. What I'm saying is better to know.
Absolutely.
It's better to know than not know. And so this is so very important. Kerr Street, lead.
Wow.
Henrietta. And so some of it'll tell you the year. Others, it'll tell you the lead, the amount of lead, like Collingwood, 11 ppb, parts per,
participles per something.
ppb. So, these streets have huge amounts. But, you can go through the list on the website. You're buying a house, you might want to look.
Yeah.
Park Avenue, copper. 15th Street, copper. Bissell, copper. Wow, that's interesting. Because that was laid down in 1890, but the rest of these streets don't have any numbers on it, so you really don't know some of these. So no further analysis required. So if it's in yellow, no further. If it's in gray, further. analysis required. If it's in white, samples not returned for testing. So, folks, this is so important. I'm encouraging everybody, get your water tested. I'm going to lead the pack in it. I'm just going to be transparent. In my trunk right now is a sample of water that I ain't sending. I forgot. I was cleaning out my car. I went in my trunk because I kept going, I wonder why I ain't heard nothing. You ain't hear nothing because you ain't mail it in. You ain't put it
It's
in.
conspiracy. They ain't trying to let me know because that water is bad. That's a bad sample.
Holly Renee says, I don't know what we need to do, but all I know is my water is yellow and orange. Bro, if that, I can't see whether it's a male or female, but it says person, if your water is brown and orange, you need to be testing your water. Now, because it could be from inside of your house.
Yeah, it could be.
Because if I don't run my pipes, the new bathrooms we put in, they put the new stuff in.
Right.
My old pipes, if I have to run them sometime, and it will run brown, like in the bathtubs, it will run brown for a second if we haven't run it. So at the end of the day, I know that a lot of my pipes inside, I can go in the basement and see, and you can see the corrosion on it. So at the end of the day, some of that might be in your house, some might be what's connected to your house, but it is better to know than to not know. Holly Renee says we have to take precautions until something gets done in the brushing of our teeth, etc. We may have to boil our water or use spring or purified water. I didn't think about that. You can boil it.
Yeah.
Like especially, and I know some parents of babies do boil their water and then set it aside, but do something if you're not sure. And you just can't ever. You're talking about the lives of our children.
Absolutely.
And they got enough problems.
If you look at, I had my home repaired, had some pipes that had to repair. And when I saw that water line, what was inside of it?
Oh, it's disgusting.
I think that was when I started not drinking the water. I'm like, oh no.
Do you remember Rich Fontana brought, he replaced some of his lines. He brought it to the council and you look in there and the corrosion and that stuff is coming up through the pipes.
Well, I service fire sprinklers, so I know. And like you said, if you don't run it, it does get stale. It does get that odor. The pipes do corrode after a while because of other factors that could be in your water too. So it is very true that you do have to keep running water. Yeah. But it can be disheartening and disgusting once you open a pipe. Yeah.
And you're getting, like in some of my bathrooms, especially the older ones, if there is like the net over where the water comes out, and then you open it, I'll get little chunks of rocks and stuff that's in there.
Sediment.
That you're bringing into your body. Yeah. And until we have settled this and figured it out, but I'm just going to say this: we're not going to get anything done just talking about it. There has to be a plan, and then the people have to get behind that plan so that when you are electing your federal officials, because this is all over the United States, not all over, nope, especially in urban communities, because other communities have had the money. When you talk about, Williamsville, first of all, it's a newer community, but also their taxes, even when we talk about snow removal in a Williamsville, they're paying in Clarence Center, they're paying high taxes so that, and they don't have as much area to cover.
Right.
So when you talk about raising taxes, some people go, oh, I don't care, I rent. Oh, okay. Then your rent is going to go up. So it's going to affect us all in some way. Nene Sim says, can you test water if you both rent or only if you're... No, you can test... if you're a renter, that's a good question, Nene. Thank you. It doesn't matter. They don't care who you are.
Yeah, I think you can probably get it tested, but of course, once you get into the program of replacement, then it's going to have to be on the homeowner.
It'll be on the owner. Right. But if you're a renter, you can send in that test kit. Yep. And even like lead tests and all that, you can send it in without being the owner. Right. So that's a really, really good question about it. But this is a serious issue. And I think that, because let me break it down why I say the people have to get with it. It's not just about going all together with one voice saying we want all of the lines replaced, and a city with the economics of Buffalo. We ain't got the money.
No,
we
never
do
will.
not have the money.
Never will.
And I don't see a windfall
No.
coming to replace wind. I see it if it is. First of all, it ain't gonna happen just for Buffalo.
No.
Because every other city.
Yep.
It's going to have to happen for multiple cities who are suffering with this problem. And it's going to take us to be able to say, you want me to vote for you for Congress, you want me to vote for you for Senate, you want me to vote. Here's our agenda in Buffalo. It's our health. It's our health, because we can have the best looking buildings in the world. Yeah. But if we are dying and if we are sick, what is it all about?
I mean, it almost seems like it's got to be a national issue, just what happened in Michigan.
Yeah.
When we talked about the water quality and those issues, then it bubbled up and it's like, oh, we got to start doing something. And you really haven't heard much about it since, because that was the issue. And it always seems that it always has to be to that extent for any great change to take place, especially as it relates to water. Because you know that the situation they had in Michigan, that was just abominable. And I don't even know if that's been resolved fully.
Nope.
But still, those are the type of issues that, you know, if it's not a national issue, then it just seems like, oh, it's not really important.
And this has to be a national issue.
Absolutely.
Now, when we got the $1 billion for joint schools construction, it wasn't a national issue. It was a lot of people working together to say that how important education was, how bad our buildings were, and at the end of the day, you know, able to secure $1 billion. And I think that if there was a plan and a desire, and if we could get out of our own way of division, and number one, it's about our health.
Yeah.
It will provide jobs. In New Jersey, they hired people, and what they did is they did whole neighborhoods, the worst neighborhoods first. They didn't do Ferry and then run over here to Bissell. Right. They did a whole neighborhood, and they talk about how it was like a construction, like a kind of a factory. You hand up, you buy in bulk. They took people from neighborhoods who were not working and trained them because they were doing this, and they did it quickly. Wow. But it was expensive, and not only was it expensive, they bonded it, which means you still got to pay for this. Right. I'm sure there was other help. I didn't get totally in there. In our case, right now, I think there has to be a desire, but we got to remember, just like snow, and I'm not saying people were wrong, by the way, of wanting better snow clearing.
Absolutely not.
They're definitely not wrong. But what we have to realize is that to get there, somebody's got to pay the piper.
Right.
Because those tow trucks, the dump trucks,
dumps, high lifts, and at the I was going to say excavators, but we had equipment at the dump sites. There's money. There's a whole process.
These folks didn't come in here and say, "Oh, I'm going to help the city of Buffalo." They came in to make money, and they made money.
But I think it goes back to what you said originally. We have to come together and start having a dialogue on what we want to do, and it can't be back and forth. It really should be, you know, what is it that your priority would be if we had $1 billion? I mean, we got a whole daggone $1.5 billion for a football stadium. Is that going to improve our health?
Preach.
No, it's not.
And I was getting ready to say,
you know,
and 850 is on taxpayers.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach for a building we don't own. For real.
But
it barely go.
Right.
When you talk about the process and what New Jersey did and the economic impact, sure, you may have a bond, but think about the lifting of the boats in that neighborhood, in that community, for that period of time when this project,
absolutely.
This is not going to be a 1-year project. It's going to be several years.
They did it in several years.
Yeah.
The city in the past has talked about over 25 years. I say we don't have 25 years.
No.
We don't have 25
You'll
years
lose a whole
to wait.
generation.
You'll lose a generation. And we don't know how much later, I mean, you know, especially those areas that haven't been tested thoroughly, how much lead is in the water. And I'm serious. I really am. And I'm going to share the results of what I learned at my own residence, because I just think it's so important that we have these real conversations and that we say to people, call 311. Call 311. Ask for it. Tell them you want to have your water tested. They will walk you through it. and then report out. And they will have the report, by the way. So when you get your water tested, that's why I say go through the government channels, because when you go to Home Depot, that doesn't get reported back to the city necessarily. But when you go through the city system, then they have the record of which homes in the area are showing lead.
And I think it would build the case to the federal government.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, if it goes out, then it's like we're still clamoring for information. But you can say, I have a large section of the city that now has lead pipes, and it builds the case.
Absolutely. So that's how, as Kamal says, working together. Kamal, Al Warner, everybody working together works. I'm going to read you this, and then I'm going to throw it over to the station. The most common sources of lead in drinking water are lead pipes, faucets, and plumbing fixtures. Certain pipes that carry drinking water from the water source to the home may contain lead, but also household plumbing fixtures, like what we're talking about, welding solder, and pipe fittings made prior to 1986.
Wow.
May also contain lead. So where I was talking about, for instance, the condos, I was wrong.
Right.
Because those were built before 1986. So I'm down there drinking the water, Brian.
Very well could be.
But I wasn't a water drinker then.
Yeah.
I'm just in the last 4 or 5 years. Now I drink water all day long. So I'm a water drinker now.
I really haven't been a water drinker unless you were in the gym when we were at school. You were going to the water fountain, but because that water was nice and cold, but not
it's always cold.
Yeah, but think about this: you were in that gym drinking nice and cold water.
Right.
We don't even have water fountains in City Hall anymore.
I know. All right,
there's none. You had to, or else you would have had to remediate all those old pipes.
Well, I was getting ready to say, in that same article, it talked about the amount of schools, and I'm mad I closed the tab. Talked about the amount of schools that still had lead service running to them in the country. So it's a growing epidemic besides our homes, but it's still in our schools and our public buildings as well.
Absolutely. So, folks, here's a bit of 3 bits of advice. One, if you don't know, if you never had your water tested, test your water, because you're bringing this stuff into your body. Number 2, in the meantime, if you do not have a filtration system, you can go to Walmart and buy the
gallon things.
The gallon things, fill that up,
or your spigot ones,
or the spigot ones. Find some way to filter that water, right? So do that. And number 3, if you can't do anything else and you have a baby in your house, boil the water. Boil the water. Information is power.
It is.
Information is power.
And there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, there's these little gadgets that you can put on your faucet that will filter the water.
That's what it is.
You just have to make sure you continue to change it.
You got to change it.
Sorry, I'm old school with the spigot.
Yeah, he says spigot. The one who didn't know about 411, but he talking about spigot. He said spigot. I said I'm gonna go with it. We don't say spigot. Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaning, 874 East Delavan Avenue. That's Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaning. They're the one that pay the bills. And Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home, 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, and 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. And now that I got a little more time on my hands, I ain't got a lot of time because True Bethel is sucking up all the time. And if you were here last night or watched last night, I pray that you see the progress. It was just a wonderful night of prayer. The teams worked so hard. And I treated last night what I recognized before I throw it to the station like the telethon.
Yes, you did.
I treated it like the telethon. And I may call it the prayer telethon for the first.
Amen.
Prayer-thon.
Yeah.
That might, so I'm going to look at those words and play with them a little bit for next week. I'm throwing it back over to the station. Until next week, power to the people.